Leaders are divine choices, irrespective of who they are, where they come from, and what they believe in. That is what the scripture says in Romans 13, verses 1 and 2, that everyone must obey state authorities because no authority exists without God's permission, and the existing authorities have been put there by God. Whoever opposes the existing authority opposes what God has ordered and will bring judgment upon himself. The book of Exodus reinforces governing authorities as a sovereign choice from God. How come, therefore, that some consecrated children of God can afford to close their eyes and turn their backs to the doctrine of their faith on which they count for their personal salvation? And how come some power-hungry politicians in Cameroon can afford or try to modify the doctrine of their faith just to satisfy their selfish political ambition and party loyalties? Yet, the scripture says and states unequivocally that there is no authority except by God's appointment, and that God's choice is sovereign. Driven by greed and their unchecked tussle for power, they have challenged the authority of the elections governing body Elecam, questioning the moral rectitude of the officials and undermining every decision taken by the Electoral Board of Elections Cameroon. Overwhelmed by their voting political ambition, these class of politicians have showered insults on the 11 wise men and women of the Constitutional Council, brandishing every ruling of the council as politically motivated. Yet, the scripture says, let every person be subjected to the governing authorities. What about the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, a man with an unquestionable religious and exceptional leadership track record, with love for his country and love for his people, a beneficiary of an overwhelming support of his fellow compatriots at home and abroad, a nonagenarian with physical and mental capacity and ability given by God to watch over his people? The same self-seeking and power-hungry politicians, call them sellers of illusion, have continued to sing songs of ridicule and disrepute against God's chosen authority, President Paul Biya, in total defiance of their religious doctrine and in denial of what the scripture says. Authorities are instituted by God and according to God's time. That refers to divinely appointed and purposeful moment for any event to unfold, very distinct from human chronological time. God's time is never too early or too late. Like Abraham and Sarah in the Bible, to whom God promised a son, they waited faithfully and patiently for God's appointed time. Abraham was 100 years old and Sarah 90 when God finally gave them a son, Isaac. That was God's appointed time. Conventional wisdom demands that if you cannot be a king today, be the kingmaker, and wait patiently like Abraham, in faith, in peace, and in fraternity, not in violence and disregard for state institutions and state authorities, because tomorrow may be God's time. For now, President Paul Biya is God's choice. Hope you understand.